And welcome to WION Dispatch. Israel's military has said that it is ramping up aerial bombardment in the Gaza enclave. The Israeli Defense Forces have added that Hamas took over 200 people as hostages since its surprise assault on Israel. The Gaza death toll has now climbed to over 5,000, including over 2,000 children and over 1,000 women. Earlier today, a third fleet of vehicles carrying aid has crossed the Rafah border and entered into Gaza enclave. At least 34 trucks carrying food, water and fuel have now entered Gaza from Egypt. The United Nations stresses, however, that the trickle is only a drop in the ocean of what is required. Israel has continued its airstrikes throughout the weekend, despite U.S. diplomatic efforts for both the Israeli and Hamas factions to agree to a ceasefire. The airstrikes continued near the Rafah crossing. Israel's military said its ground forces mounted limited raids into the Gaza Strip overnight. The military spokesperson added that their airstrikes are focused on sites where Palestinian militants are assembled to attack the Israeli forces.
יש מטס שתוקף עשרות נקודות שבהם אנחנו מבינים שמתכנסים מחבלים, שמתארגנים מחבלים לקראת השלבים הבאים במלחמה, והתפקיד שלנו הוא לצמצם את האיומים האלה. ולכן כל זמן שניתן לנו אנחנו מנצלים אותו על מנת לשפר את המוכנות שלנו ואת היכולת שלנו לבצע את התמרון בצורה הטובה ביותר.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened a meeting of his top generals and his war cabinet to assess the conflict. Israeli aircraft also struck pockets in southern Lebanon overnight. Israeli troops and tanks are now amassed on the Israeli-Gaza border, but how soon the ground invasion, which is aimed at rooting out Hamas, will begin is still not clear. Washington is looking to delay an Israeli ground offensive, hoping to get more hostages out and more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Now, on Sunday evening, there was a bomb alert at the main shopping center in Israel's central city of Ra'anana. The incident lasted several hours. Our correspondent Jody Cohen was at the center as the security forces combed the area. She is now joining us live from Ra'anana. Jody, good to see you. What's the situation at the moment? How did the IDF handle the matter, and are civilians safe?
So I've been on the scene of a live security situation here in Ra'anana with a shopping centre behind me having a bomb scare. Now this comes amid yesterday on Sunday, 15 pounds of explosives were found in a child's backpack that the army said was left by Hamas, and there have been security alerts across Israel. Now this comes amid the backdrop of thousands of Hamas terrorists infiltrating into Israel just over 2 weeks ago. The IDF also are said to be preparing for a ground offensive on the Gaza border, and we know that there are also troops in the north ready to defend against Hezbollah in Lebanon should they escalate further. Now, much like the Gazan civilians have been warned to move from North Gaza to the south of Gaza to get to safety, Israeli communities have also been evacuated on the northern border and on the southern border as well. And people are on alert here across the country.
Let's talk about the borders now. There are concerns of the war spreading beyond Gaza with advent of Hezbollah. The U.S. is reportedly urging Israel to go slow on their ground offensive for the sake of hostages. What do we know about these developments?
So there is a concern of this spreading further. We know that the United States and others are trying to keep Hezbollah out. Remember, Hezbollah have been sending rockets and missiles and attempting infiltrations also from Lebanon into Israel. They have been liaising with the US and others have been liaising with Lebanon to try and put pressure on Hezbollah, who, remember, are part of the government in Lebanon. Now, the Hezbollah deputy chief has said that Hezbollah is very much in the battle with Hamas. And on Sunday, the Israel Defense Forces said that they struck a Hezbollah cell in Lebanon 5 times to try and prevent them from striking, and they say that they're trying to avoid a new war front opening up there. Now, the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that the US is concerned about Iranian proxies attacking Americans and Israel. And Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has said that the US have activated air defense systems in West Asia and alerted US forces that they could be deployed soon. And he said that that was in response to, quote, recent escalations by Iran and its proxy forces. And he believes that this will bolster regional deterrence efforts. The US is reportedly also advising Israel to delay its Gaza operation to try to use diplomacy to get more hostages released. Remember, 2 American hostages were released a few days ago, and approximately 230 are thought to be held currently in Gaza by Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Israel says in the meantime it's still clearing explosives and weapons by the Gaza border.
Jody, finally, there is a statement that was issued by 5 countries, including the United States, on the flow of aid into Gaza, urging authorities at the border crossing to check for weapons and ensure that it doesn't get to Hamas territories. What do we know about that?
So in terms of aid, the US envoy has said that a continuous flow of aid to Gaza will start on Monday, and the aid, remember, is being checked for weapons because they want to, while letting in water and food and medicines, there is a big concern that other weapons could be smuggled in, so everything is being checked very carefully. And President Biden has said also that if that aid, remember the medicines, the water, the food, even if that gets to Hamas, then the aid would stop. Leaders of the United States, of Canada, France, Germany and Italy, they've all issued a joint statement welcoming those humanitarian convoys for Gazans in need, but also stressing Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.